This week on Flix Freaks, we review Coffee and Kareem, starring Ed Helms, Taraji P. Henson, and Terrence Gardenhigh. Directed by Michael Dowse. A 12-year-old scheme to scare away his mom's new boyfriend backfires, exposing his family to a secret network of criminal activity. Welcome to Flix Freaks. My name is Brian Donovan, and on today's video, we are reviewing Coffee and Kareem. So this is about a Detroit police officer named James Coffee. He's dating a single mom, and the son Kareem he wants to be a rapper, and he's trying to portray this thug life. So he hates cops, and he's a troublemaker at school, and so on and so forth. And he finds out that his mom is dating this white cop, and so he goes out of his way to try to get them to break up. He doesn't like the cop. He ends up finding out through someone, I guess a friend at school, that if he goes to this place, he can hire someone to try to beat the cop up and get him out of his mom's life type idea. And that's pretty much the premise of the story. From there, it goes into the guys end up turning to be bad guys or drug dealers. They walk in on this whole scenario. The kid Kareem walks in on this whole scenario. And then the chase ensues from there. As they're advertising this movie, Netflix tweets out that this is supposed to be the buddy cop movies you loved in the 80s, and it gets a modern day reimagining when a cop teams up with a 12-year-old kid and so on and so forth. It was not. This did not resemble the 80s movies that I grew up on, such as Lethal Weapon or Tango and Cash, 48 Hours, Running Scared. It didn't even resemble Turner and Hooch, for that, to be honest. That was actually more interesting than this story was. So the promo was quite misleading in my opinion. I don't think it represented what this film actually was. This film was supposed to be a comedy. It's supposed to be raunchy. It's supposed to be very adult, which I understand. Hey, I like a good raunchy movie once in a while, but I'll be honest. I think that this film got a little bit carried away and was really pushing the envelope. And what I mean by that is there was quite a few pederast jokes. And if you're not sure what a pederast is, you can Google search that. I'll be honest, I just didn't find that humor funny at all. If anything, it was quite offensive. Not that I was necessarily looking for a family movie. It's not that I haven't been around the block or two once in a time. Again, I can appreciate a raunchy comedy, but I think some of these jokes were going a little bit too far in their context. The plot was really straightforward. It was quite simple. There were lots of cliches, lots of stereotypes. You have Ed Helms. He's playing James Coffee. He's this goofy, white, stupid Detroit police officer who can't do anything right. He goofs everything up. And, he's almost like, even though he's the main character, he's still almost like the comic relief a little bit. Then you have the Kareem character played by Terrence Gardenhigh, and he's supposed to be the streetwise young kid who's got everything figured out, and he's got a smart mouth, and he doesn't like cops, and he wants to be this thug rapper. And then you have Taraji P. Henson, who I love as an actress. She is such a brilliant performer, and she plays the single mom. And again, every stereotype just comes with almost every single character in this film. The movie was very predictable. Even the surprise twist about the end of the second act was actually really predictable. The ending, everything was predictable. Nothing was left to any imagination. It wasn't challenging whatsoever. It's very easy to digest. It's very easy to follow. So easy to follow that it actually becomes boring, in my opinion. Now, the actors' performances were actually quite good. And I say that with a caveat, in that if they're gonna win any awards, it's gonna be a Golden Raspberry Award. Okay, these are not challenging roles. But with the stereotypes, these performers actually did a good job capturing these stereotypes, to be honest. So that's a positive. The cinematography was actually pretty good. The lighting, the framing, the camera angles, the movement, all that was actually done really well. As far as the final edit, the beginning, in my opinion, was a little bit slow as far as establishing, going into the characters, and it's like the kid hates the cop, and the cop's trying to, develop a relationship with the kid, and then we start the action. That did take a few minutes to get started, but after that, it actually flowed pretty well. It paced pretty okay. The action sequences were pretty okay. I didn't have any issues with that. I like the lighting. The color grading turned out nice. So there were positives in this movie. So to play devil's advocate to my own review, what if this movie was intentionally bad on purpose? Maybe everything was a stereotype. Maybe it was such a simple following because the writer and director were trying to put out a simple, enjoyable movie for a certain crowd. Now, this is not my crowd. I'm still going to give this a thumbs down. I did not like this film. I thought it was trash, mostly because of all the jokes and then the inappropriate jokes, particularly by the 12-year-old. And hey, I know the way 12-year-olds talk. I was a 12-year-old once. We didn't have the cleanest of vocabulary when our parents weren't and teachers weren't around. But still, I don't necessarily want to see that. I'm still going to give it a thumbs down, but that's because I'm practicing to be a snobby movie critic. Until next week, thank you for watching Flix Freaks. Join us again next week when we review another Netflix original film.